She never screamed. She never ran. She never said, "Help." At exactly 3:14 every morning, my wife would sit up in bed, stare into the darkest corner of our room, and whisper a sentence I still hear in my bones. "She is burning." There was no fire, no smoke, no alarm, but every night after she said it, the house felt hotter and something closer. I thought it was sleepwalking. I thought it was stress. I was wrong, because she wasn't talking about a ghost. She was talking about someone I let burn. The first time it happened, I almost missed it. That's the part that scares me the most now, how easily something like this can slip past you when you're tired, when your life feels ordinary, when you trust the person sleeping beside you more than your own instincts. Emily sat up so slowly that the mattress barely moved. People don't sit up like that in their sleep. There's always a jerk, a shift, something clumsy. Not Emily. Her spine straightened as if something had aligned her from the inside. Her hands rested flat on her thighs. Her eyes opened, and she stared into the corner of our bedroom, the one place the moonlight never touched. She said, "She is burning." Not afraid, not angry, certain. I whispered her name. No response. Then she lay back down, pulled the blanket to her chest, and started breathing deeply again. Asleep. Just like that. By daylight, Emily remembered nothing. She made coffee, fed the cat, adjusted the curtains to the same exact angle she always preferred. She worked as an archivist, where tragedies were sealed in boxes and placed on shelves. I asked her, "Did you sleep okay?" "Perfectly." She didn't notice the way I flinched. The second night, I was awake. 3:14. Emily sat up again. Same posture, same stillness. "She is burning." I said her name. She doesn't like being ignored. Emily stopped using mirrors. She turned them to the wall. All of them. When I asked why, she said, "They distract me." Then came the smell. Not smoke. Sharper. Bitter. Burned hair. I asked her if she smelled it. "Does it smell angry?" That night, I dreamed of heat. No flames, no light, just pressure. The walls were breathing. Something inside them was scratching. He watched. I woke up screaming. The clock read 3:14. Emily wasn't in bed. I found her on the floor, scratching her arms hard. Her skin was hot, not feverish, wrong. She doesn't need fire anymore. I followed her to work, into the basement, into the records that should have stayed buried. Case 417, Marrow House Fire, 1998. The girl, the one you never went back for. She is burning. I didn't tell Emily what I saw in the glass cabinet. The hands, the mouth, the smile that didn't belong to anyone living. I told myself it was stress. Basements do that. Bad lighting, old buildings. That lie lasted exactly one night. Rain hit the windshield like fingers trying to get in. Emily stared straight ahead, didn't blink, didn't breathe deeply. She doesn't like that place. Who? She. That night, the house felt smaller. Not darker, not colder, smaller. Like the walls had shifted inward while we were gone. I checked the doors. Locked. Windows. Closed. Smoke detectors. Silent. Too silent. At 3:14, I woke up to breathing. Not Emily's. Shallow. Uneven. Right next to my ear. She is still burning. When I turned, Emily was asleep, but the corner of the room, that corner, was warm. Emily stopped going to work. She doesn't want me around so many names. What names? I asked. The ones that pretend they ended. She sat in the guest room for hours, back against the wall, whispering to someone who never answered out loud. She covered the vents, all of them. I asked why. She feels the air move. It irritates her skin. I tried calling the doctor. Emily unplugged the phone. The first burn mark appeared behind her chair. At first, I thought it was a shadow. Then I touched it. The paint was blistered, blackened, in the shape of a hand, too small to be Emily's. Emily, did you do this? She didn't turn around. She touches things when she's upset. That night, the dreams came back, only this time they weren't just dreams. Yellowed wallpaper, smoke-stained ceiling, a locked door at the end of the hall. I could hear screaming, a girl's voice, hoarse, breaking. I stood there. I did nothing. I woke up choking. The smell of burned hair filled the bedroom. Emily stood over me. Her pupils were too large. She remembers that. What? I asked. You leaving. The house began responding to her moods. When Emily was calm, the house was quiet. When she wasn't, the temperature rose. Objects shifted. Walls creaked like joints under pressure. I heard footsteps upstairs, dragging, burned. I went back to the records office alone. The basement was unlocked. That should have scared me. It didn't. Door locked from the outside. Adult male present. Said he panicked. Said he would come back. Never did. When I got home, Emily was waiting. The lights were off. The house was hot. Too hot to breathe. She knows you remember. I was scared. I cried. I didn't mean. She stayed. Where was I supposed to go? Her shadow didn't move with her. It stood up after she did. A shape peeled off the wall, blackened, blistered, smiling. She's so tired. She just wanted someone warm. She is burning, and now you feel it. The fire alarm screamed, but there were no flames, just heat, just presence, just me. I don't remember when the screaming stopped. I only remember the silence afterward. Not peace, silence like pressure, like being buried alive and realizing the dirt isn't moving anymore. The firefighters stood frozen in the doorway. None of them crossed the threshold. One of them whispered into his radio and stepped back like the house might follow him outside. Emily sat in the corner, hands folded neatly in her lap, her skin untouched. The burn marks on the walls pulsed faintly, breathing. She's almost done. They took me to the hospital. Shock, observation, smoke inhalation. Even though there had been no smoke, the doctors couldn't explain the burns on my hands. They said the scars looked old, layered, like the wounds had existed long before they appeared. I asked for Emily. No one answered. The first night in the hospital, I woke up sweating. The clock read 3:14. He watched. The room was dark, but it wasn't empty. The air was hot, too hot for memory. They released me after 2 days. Emily had disappeared. No missing person report, no security footage, no paper trail. It was like she had never existed, except for the burns, except for the walls, except for me. I went back. I don't know why. The house was boarded up, condemned, unsafe. I broke a window and climbed inside. The smell hit me immediately. Burned hair, old pain. The burn marks covered every wall now. Handprints, finger streaks, like someone had been dragged while screaming. In the center of the room, Emily's phone, powered on. One saved note. Timestamp 3:14.
She is burning. I heard footsteps upstairs, slow, dragging, burned. Each step grew hotter. The hallway walls bowed inward, like ribs crushed by something inside the house. At the end of the hall, the guest room, the door was open. Emily stood inside. Her face was hers. Her eyes were not. They glowed faintly, like embers buried under ash. She's ready now. Emily, please. That's not my name anymore. The room peeled away. The house inhaled, and suddenly I was back. The marrow house, the hallway, the door, the heat. I was scared, I cried. I didn't mean to leave her. She knows. She just wants you to stay. The door opened, not outward, inward. Fire didn't come out. A girl did. 16, blackened skin, cracked like porcelain. Hannah Moore. You locked it. I panicked. You survived. She reached out. Her fingers passed through my chest, and suddenly I was burning. Fire doesn't hurt at first. At first, it reminds you of your skin, of your breath, of every nerve you ever ignored. I carried her. Now you can. The house inhaled. The heat rushed inward. The burn marks lifted off the walls and flowed into me. Something settled behind my eyes, patient, awake. They never found Emily. They never found Hannah. They found me, standing in the living room, the house cold, perfectly intact. I live alone now. Different town, different house. I don't use mirrors. I don't open windows. Outside smells wrong. At exactly 3:14, I feel her stir. Not angry, not screaming, just present. I open my mouth and I say the sentence that keeps her calm. She is burning.